Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here coming at you with top five side deck cards in the meta right now. And things are always changing in the meta, right? The Konami comes out with a new ban list, decks change, your side deck's going to change accordingly, right?
Mhm.
So Herb's going to join me. We're going to go over what we think are the best kind of like all around tech cards. But we do have a disclaimer for you, right, Herb?
Yeah, so basically, the big reason that I think this disclaimer is important is not every single deck should side deck these cards. And just because you side deck these cards doesn't mean you're going to automatically win those matchups, right? You have to think about what your deck's personal matchups are and why, and if your deck should really be siding for other matchups, right? So if I'm Sabres, do I really need to be siding Necrovalley? Is that really the best use of that side deck slot? So just things like that. You have to take what we say with a grain of salt and apply it yourself.
But these are the techs we're seeing a lot of right now in
Hmm.
tournaments, and that's why we're bringing
Yep.
them up. Yep. All right, so the first one we have here is Artefact Lancia.
Lancia, probably the most broken tech card since its introduction. Discard it from your hand. All banishing is done for the rest of the turn. No more banishing. So this card is really, really good against Sabres. Can be good against Crystons. Can be good against Heroes, although I would not side it in versus Heroes. And the other deck it's really good against is Ritual Beast. Ritual Beast and Sabres are the two that are hit by far the hardest by this. So if you expect both of those decks or your deck struggles versus those decks, for sure side it.
And you'd side what? Maybe one or two?
I generally like to side in twos, just because in a 20 card deck you're not really gonna see, excuse me, a one of very often. I think it's always best to side in ratios of two. And if you do side one copy, it should be something that you already have a copy of in your deck. If that makes
Okay. All right. All right. The next one we have Necrovalley. We already talked about this one, Herf.
Necrovalley is really, really good because it stops all banishing and special summoning from the grave. So it is really, really good against Crystons, like amazing. It can be very good against Sabres, although it's probably less impactful, especially if they have their board already set up, since they can also fusion from their hand. But it's seeing a huge uptick in play just because we lost access to Sealed Tomb. Well, Sealed Tombs we didn't lose access to, but we lost access to normal No Mortal Can Resist. So this is basically like a mini Sealed Tombs No Mortal kind of card.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really important versus those Grave Reliant decks.
All right. Okay. It's not something you would typically think citing a field spell, but
Mhm.
as you said, it has a lot of utility right now.
Yep.
All right. Next one, Twister. Come on, man. Come
I think
on. You're
Twister
pulling my
is
leg, right?
the most underrated side deck card, period, right now. It's so good versus Sabres and Dark Magician because they activate their circle, and you twister it. You don't get to activate another one, it fizzles, and you're safe from being banished next turn.
Mm-hmm.
The other matchup, Sabres, is super, super good against because they can hit their field spell, they can activate it, and then you twister it. They don't get the search. They basically just -1 from their hand, as well as they don't have a battle phase for their next turn. So
Right.
you can make them pay the full cost of the field spell with none of the effects, which is super, super important.
So you got to pay 500 life points, and then you can target. And this is the important part. It's got to be a face-up spell or trap on the field,
Yep.
and it's a quick play, which is nice.
Yeah, so it's chainable to the palace or to the circle, which is a huge key of why it is really good.
All right, and
I've also
this
seen people side unending in place of Twister, but that's mostly in Sabres that like the D draw. So
okay, and this is an old card, right? Is this from the first box?
it's, I
The
think
first three
so.
boxes, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
old. Yeah, it's
it's on the
old.
first couple main boxes, one of the
Yep.
two.
All right. Next one we got list system down. We saw this go off, I believe, yesterday in our single limb tournament, and it was devastating.
System down is like hands down like one of the best floodgates in the game. If you're playing against a machine deck like Crystron's, you slap that on the board and you should be winning the game unless something
Right.
crazy happens. Like if you banish all of their monsters from the field and grave, unless you're facing one of the best Chris round players in the world and they have follow up, you're winning.
Right.
It's just that easy.
But this would be would you side 2 of these, or would this be a one of in your
I
side
would
deck?
side two for sure because just you can draw into it early or late, but I would generally just want to see my side deck cards as much as possible. I would never side three, but again, I pretty much always like to side in two ofs because it's about drawing them, as well as we have a lot of skills in the game that are life point oriented. So just being able to pay 1,000 life points is pretty good. So you can proc your sealed tombs or something like that, or your bring it or something like that, just to be able to proc your skill as well as get the added bonus of banishing machine type monsters.
All right, now the last one on the list. Your boy, you know you love him, Sphere Kuriboh. He's got a warm
Yeah,
place in my heart. I don't know about you.
Sphere Kuriboh is just always the card that you love to hate, but it's so good, especially versus heroes. Heroes is like the biggest is just gets so devastated by Sphere Kuriboh because you are able to not give your opponent any kind of read on it until they're already in trouble, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
they don't know it's there until they're playing into it, which is a really cool thing about hand traps and Duel Links is that we have no way to disrupt them at the moment. So Sphere
Right.
Kuriboh is really just something that heroes have to play through, and sometimes in the process of playing through them, they die. And same thing with Black Wings. So I think it's a really good card. Definitely side two. If you're already maining 1 to 2, this would be a side deck card that I could consider playing one of. So like I would play like 2 System Down, maybe 2 Twister, and a Sphere Kuriboh if I'm already maining 2 Sphere Kuribohs, which is a really good side deck that I think covers a lot of the matchups. You can main Lancia. So overall, side deck tips I want you guys to take away from today. Never just side a bunch of random one-ups. Like, don't just be like, oh, these are the best 5. I'm just gonna side one of every single one. That's a bad strategy. You want to think about what matchups you expect to see, what matchups your deck struggles versus, and what cards, if they're really good in the main deck, would you consider playing, or in the side deck, would you consider playing in the main deck? So Lancia is definitely one of those cards that is so good in the side deck that you should for sure consider playing it in the main, which I think is really good if you have the space to play 2 to 3 Lancia in the main deck inside a lot of these other cards. And this is not an exhaustive list. This is like the second disclaimer. There are good side deck cards out of these 5 for certain decks. Probably like an honorable mention, I would definitely say is like Poisonous Winds. It's something that's kind of in and out of the meta. It was really
Yeah,
good
that's
in
pretty
co-op meta.
specific though.
Yeah, but when
When
I
it
mean,
goes off, yeah, it's
okay, yeah.
devastating.
I mean, okay, but the thing is, like, all side deck cards are generally pretty specific. Like System
Right.
Down, all machine types, right? So, or even like Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, only darks. So,
Right.
all of these side deck cards are going to go in and out of the meta. Like I said, you have to look at what you expect to play against, what you struggle against, and if it's worth how much you struggle, basically.
It
So
the best way for you to find out what you're more than likely going to play against is what, Herf?
playing in the tournaments and
Wrong.
looking.
Wrong, Herf, wrong. The best way to find out what you're going to be playing against is watching our power rankings video
Oh yeah,
because that will tell you exactly what topped in the tournaments in the past week. So you can watch that and analyze and see what's topping in tournaments and what's more than likely you're going to run up against. Herf.
although what I will say is sometimes what's highest in the power rankings is not always what's most played.
I'm just saying
So
it's the decks that's getting results. It's
that's true.
fact based. It's not opinion based. Herf. If you actually showed up for a recording, you'd know that.
Well, all right,
And
all
on
right.
that note,
Thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Twitch. Look at all the tournaments. See all these side deck cards in action. We have top players from all around the world siding these cards. So come, take notes. Hopefully, I'll see you there.
All right, guys. I had a lot of fun. I know Herf did.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.
See ya.